Okay, let's do this. So, we're talking today about finding our purpose. I've had a friend recently ask me about how do I find my purpose? How do I know what I'm doing or where I'm going, or how do I figure this whole thing out? And it actually comes down to what makes your energy soar? What revives you? What gives you those creative juices that just keep going and going? What gives you that oomph that you need? It doesn't even have to be one thing. Sometimes we think our purpose has to be this one grand scheme in the whole grand of life, from like childhood and college and what am I going to do in college and high school to college, and who am I going to be, and what's the path? Well, the problem is we still wake up in our 50s, 40s, 60s going, I don't know, I don't have a flipping clue. I still don't know what my purpose is. And I actually stopped to think about this a little bit recently because, especially if you're a person of varied interest and you like to do a lot of different things and you're just this creative person. And it's like, well, what is my purpose? Because I want to do it all. But what's the great purpose? And I actually had to think about what it means to find our great purpose. So my own thoughts on this have been expanding from what I originally thought. And I'm kind of digging into what it really means to find our purpose. Part of the vagueness that hits all of us is that we live in this world that says we're basically a blip on the timeline of this vastly expanding universe, and we have no purpose. We're just a blip. We're just a nothing. So why does it even matter? You might as well live a very hedonistic lifestyle, have no moral integrity, don't care about any of it. But I have actually come to see it a little bit differently. Years ago, I kind of coined this phrase for myself that said we were created to create. And we're actually created by a great creator. And I don't know where you are on the whole spiritual journey, but if you're not on a spiritual journey, you're not going to actually know what your purpose could ever be, because ultimately, the great creator created us to create. And that's where we hit this dilemma of what our purpose is. It's an interesting journey, because we think we need to define it in some mechanistic, worldly way. Like, I do this for a living, and it's not actually about how we make our living. We get caught up in the grind of crunching numbers for money and paying the bills and chasing the kids and taking care of our parents and doing, all the different things, but it's not really about any of that. I've decided that our great purpose is actually to be creative. I know that I'm happiest when I'm creating something, not when I'm just grinding along, working for no purpose or very little purpose, and it's just a process and it's not really creating or bringing anything of value to the world. So for me, I'm learning that finding my purpose has to be about creating something. And it might be, in my case, writing something. It might be creating the videos, which I'm learning to really enjoy. It might be about creating social media things, but I think it goes bigger than that. Over the years, I have found great joy in creating and playing on the piano. None of these are purposeful things, but they all go into who we are. When I was thinking of this, I was riding my motorcycle here, and I was thinking, I know engineers who have this grinding job all the time doing their work, and they're creating the most amazing woodworking projects. Like, they're creating masterpieces out of slabs of wood. I know sales and marketing reps who pick up a camera and head out to the woods and capture the beauty, of the wildlife with the scenery. And I finally actually thought, because we were created to create, that it is only our greatest and highest purposes is found when we are creating something. And maybe it's that work of art, or maybe it's writing that book, but it's really about creating and adding to the world and helping shape our world, rather than just constantly consuming in the world. So what we're trying to do as we find our purpose in our creative outlets is to extract, to distill, to translate what we see as something beautiful in the world and process that through our own lives into something creative and giving that creative outlet that we need. That's a big part of what our purpose is. And we don't think of purpose as that. We think it has to be something very mechanistic, but it's really not. It's really something about creating the beauty through our lives, creating a legacy of what we've processed through our lives. So I'm going to explore this journey a little bit further because I'm pretty excited about it, and it's one I've always understood but didn't ever translate into this process. So I hope that helps you kind of put a little bit of perspective into, you know, your mission or your journey or your goal, you know, all this purpose that we're all looking for. And it's more than just crunching a number somewhere. It's really about who your soul is, how your spirit cries out, and creating to create. Thanks for coming along.